Hello guys, and welcome to my new video, and today we're going to be talking about healers and healer gear optimization. The main title of the video is going to try and get rid of the confusion when it comes to picking the items from the vault. I know there is so many questions that I get, and I'm gonna be doing this by introducing you to Questionably Epic live tool, which can be considered as simming for healers. It's not exactly right because it's not generating stat priorities from thin air. It's actually using existing logs to determine what stat priority could be good for you if you play the class correctly, let's say it. So let's go and get started, and first we're gonna look at the vault. So as an example, I'm gonna go and open the vault on my Restoration Druid. My Restoration Druid is around 216 item level, and we'll talk about stat priority, determining stat priority, and which item I'm going to be choosing. So when you open the vault, you're probably gonna see a screen like this, maybe a bit more options. I only have 2 options for this character, and I can see a cloak that gives me crit mastery 226. I already have a 210 cloak with haste verse. And we also have a belt that's going to be 226 with haste verse. Pretty nice stats for everything. But I also have a 213 belt with haste versatility already available. Which item should I pick? So the first thing you're gonna install is going to be called Simulation Craft add-on. It's an extremely lightweight add-on. It's basically not gonna impact your performance on anything. And when you have this window open, you're gonna click enter in chat to open chat system, and you're going to type in /simc. This is going to generate a string that's basically gonna determine what items you have and what are the items currently open in the vault. You're going to Control C to copy all. If it's not selected, you can Control A and Control C, and you're gonna make sure you copy this. And now we're gonna go to the Questionably Epic Live website portion of the video. So once you type in Questionably Epic Live, you'll see an option like this or a screen like this. Now you probably won't see these characters, so you can just add a character. It doesn't really matter what you're gonna name as long as you pick the right class. That's basically the most important thing here. And once you have your character selected, in my case it's going to be Restoration Druid because I play a lot of healers. I'm also simming it for other, or simming it, it's not a really right way of doing it. So if you right click on your Druid right now, you will have a screen like this, which is going to be very important because you're going to see your stat priority. Now, at the very top of the screen, you'll see Dungeon, and if you click this, you'll see Raid. So this is swapping between Raid and Dungeon stat priority. So in this case, we're going to go Dungeon, we're going to right click on Druid, and we're going to double check our stat priority. I like to fiddle with this because sometimes I like to change it a bit more, but generally speaking, my stat priority for Dungeon is looking at Haste being the best, Mastery being second best, and then Verse Crit being somewhere close to it. Now, if I go out of the screen, swap to Raid, go back to my Druid, right click this, you're gonna see that my stat priority has changed. Now, Haste is very, very strong for us to Druid, both in Raid and Mythiclus, but you can see after that it's probably crit in Raid situations, and then maybe Verse Mastery with Leech being extremely strong. So make sure you're in the right tab when you're comparing it, if you want Raid or Mythiclus, depending on what content you're focusing on. So I want to focus on Dungeon. So right now I click Dungeon, and you can see here SimC. This is basically where I want to paste my imported string. So I click this, and then I Control V to make sure I paste all of this. You can see all the different items that are being added. It's very, very nice and very easy, and I click Submit. Now what I want to do while I have my Druid selected, I can go to Gear Quick Compare. This is something that you can use without using top gear selection. So this is nice and quick and easy because it assigns a value to your gear piece determining how good it is. So you can see here, okay, my current gear is fine. You can see the cloak. This is the cape that was in the vault that I haven't selected yet, but it's showing me as an option. So you can see it has an assigned value of 73 versus my currently equipped cloak. So that's 8-point difference. Okay, it's not too bad. 8-point difference in terms of increase for the cape, that's not too bad. So now I go to the belt, and now I see the belt is 99 versus 90 versus my currently equipped. So that's a 9-point difference. Okay, this is getting really, really close. I'm still not 100% sure which one I should pick. Technically, the belt is looking like to be like a tiny bit better than the cloak upgrade, but I want to double check. I want to make sure what's the deal with this. So I go back to Questionably Epic Live main screen. I go to top gear. Again, this is beta, and some of the stuff is, again, can be improved, but honestly, this is such a great tool. So I go to top gear. Now I need to select the items that I want to simulate or compare and determine my best gear set. And that is going to include for dungeons. It's going to be different for raids if you click raids. So right now, I don't really want to compare anything. I'm liking the gear, I'm liking my Circle Life of Death, my shoulders are fine. Okay, the cloak piece is already selected. Make sure that it is selected. You see this like a yellow icon. And my currently equipped bag. So this is the one from the vault and my currently equipped bag. Now, I want to compare wrists as well. So this is an interesting one that I kind of want to throw in here. I have a 210 wrist that have haste on it. Again, haste is very, very strong. With a socket. And that is... And I want to see if that's going to be better than my 223 wrists with no socket and no haste on them. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to click this as well to see how it's going to end up. And again, you can see the belt. And you can see my currently equipped belt, 213. You can see that I have actually 3 versions of this belt. So right now, I've selected everything that I want to compare. And I'm going to go, and you might not see a button, but there's a go button here that you can click. You can compare like 34 pieces, and we're going to click go. And now this is going to determine my best gear set or value or gear set for dungeon setup. And you can see here with the dotted lines, the belt has won out and the belt has become or should be my main option to pick from the vault if I want to focus on dungeon content. Now at the very bottom here, you might see some differences as well. You can actually see that my bracers won out as well by a tiny fraction. We're talking basically, there's no difference in this. So basically my 210 bracers with a socket have won out. And that's very interesting. And you can see the cloak upgrade would have, again, it's a tiny little, like the differences is so small that honestly you could go with anything right now and you won't know, it won't be noticeable in any shape or form, but it's good to know. So basically I can go back to Questionably Epic, I can go back to quick gear compare, and you can see my bracers that won out. There's 72 versus 71. If I put a socket in this 223 item level bracers, they for sure will be better than this. So keep in mind, a lot of the times, no matter what, highest item level is going to be the king. This is a small exception to the rule because this item has a socket and this item has haste, which is probably the best stat, secondary stat after intellect. Now, how do we go and use other tools that Questionably Epic has? We covered finding out the best or most optimal item to use from your vault. I hope that, again, this part of the video has helped you with this. And again, this supports all healers. Explore Covenants section of Questionably Epic is actually one of my favorite sections. So because we are Resto Druid, we are going for the raid section, and we're probably going to be looking at Nightfade because Nightfade is probably the most popular option for Druids or Resto Druids when looking at Covenant choices. You'll see that, hey, I have this number assigned to Grove Invigoration, which, again, if you click on it, you can see an overall score at the bottom. And if you go all the way by selecting Potency Conduits like Unstoppable Growth, you can go all the way to the bottom. And at the very end, again, Endurance Conduits like Well-Honed Instincts have a HPS value associated to them. In the same way that your Potency Conduits have HPS value associated. You can see it. Unstoppable Growth has 91, and Conflicts of Elements, which is your second best Potency Conduit for Resto Druid and a lot of content, is 70. This can change in raids or dungeons. So once you go to the very bottom, we can, let's say we're going to go for second Potency Conduit with Conflicts of Elements, and we're going to select it, and we have a score dedicated at the bottom. This score is kind of telling you how good this Soulbind is. And all of a sudden, you can kind of get a better idea of what if I'm going to go here, what if I'm going to pick something else, what if I go Dreamweaver instead and get Paw Tender, and then at the very bottom, Field of Blossoms, gives me a really nice value here as well. So all of a sudden, you can see these HPS or throughput conduits or soulbinds that are available and how you can mix and match. Keep in mind that there is different ways of looking at things like Necrolord, where you have Emni, where Lead by Example also gives primary stat to people around you. And that is kind of taken into account. So if you click Lead by Example, you can see the score is insanely strong because it takes into the group performance. You can see here, this is the change log. And there is very big changes happening with General Draven's Hold Your Ground. This is your conduit or soulbind that has been unlocked very recently, and it's really, really strong. Has been updated to better reflect real world uptimes, and Spirit Shell bug is also now counted because Spirit Shell doesn't really work with this. So if I select my Discipline Priest, if I go to Explore Covenants, if I go to Venti, Venti is very popular for raiding Discipline Priest. If you go to Draven, you can see Hold Your Ground is worth 44, or the HPS value is around 44. Standing still for at least 4 seconds grants you 10% increased stamina and 4 increased healing done. This doesn't seem to work with Spirit Shell, or there is a bug with it. So it's taking that into account. If we go back and if we go to Resto Shaman, if we click Explore Covenants and we go to Venti, which is very popular Meticulous Covenant, Draven's Hold Your Ground is insane in terms of HPS value, 176. So now you could actually say that for Resto Shaman, I like Necrolord. If I'm Necrolord, I'm gonna go Emny and I'm gonna go lead by example because it's gonna give me the best group success and it's gonna buff my group around. Or like, hey, I only care about my own HPS. I only care about my own performance. Hey, I could go Vented, I could go Draven, and I could go Hold Your Ground. And Hold Your Ground is one of the best personal healer soulbinds available. So this is why Covenant Exploration tool from Questionably Epic can be insanely strong. Make sure to go the path that you kind of want to explore and see the score that it gives you. That score is a good determination of, should I do it or maybe I should go with something else. So I want to talk about Upgrade Finder because I feel this is really, really awesome idea because a lot of people are looking for upgrades. So first of all, you have to check your currently equipped gear if that's right. I'm looking at it, and again, that's fine. This is what I use for Mythic Plus. This is all good. I'm not going to be using Mythic, or I'm not going to be doing Mythic rating, so I only want to look at heroic upgrades. Again, in here, I'm going to be doing 15 plus 15s, or at least I'll try and get it. And in terms of PvP, I don't have 1800. Let's say I'm going to be 1600 at this given point. And again, there's going to be a go button here that you can see as well. And I'm going to click it, and now all of a sudden you can see, oh hey, Castelnace has quite a few, or heroic Castelnace has quite a few upgrades for me. For my Mythic Plus dungeon set. You can see that, again, a lot of them are small. This is pretty big in terms of the gloves that I can gain. Again, a lot of it is pretty small. We're looking at the trinkets being pretty nice. Like I mentioned, Sire the Naturus, 2 trinkets, Hymnal and Mirror are both solid options for Mythic Plus, and it's something that I probably should try and get. Now, maybe I'm not going to do raiding. I just want to look at Mythic Plus. In Mythic Plus, oh, Necrotic Wake. Okay, I get decent upgrade from shoulders. I get decent upgrade from rings. You can see Halls of Atonement gives me good upgrade for gloves. It gives me good upgrade for rings. This is assuming that I'm going to be completing these in a plus 15 situation. So I'm going to get a 210 item level. Soul Letting Ruby, one of the best trinkets for most of the healers. Again, very solid option if you can run Theater of Pain for those trinket options. And then if I'm going to be doing PvP, you can also see that PvP has some really nice options in terms of trinkets, in terms of certain PvP gear. It's all based on whether I want to do PvP. And this gear upgrade is really, really nice to see what content you want to do, and which, if you enjoy that content, let's say Mythic Plus, focus on some of these areas here which have, like for example, the other side has a lot of nice upgrades for me that maybe I should try and get. Haste Mastery Trinket or Haste Mastery Ring, really, really solid for something like a dungeon set. And this is a small overview of Questionably Epic Live. Honestly, there's going to be cooldown planner coming soon. There's, again, legendary analysis. I've talked about this in videos. I could go over the log and Warcraft log, but I don't really want to overcomplicate this. I want this to be a somewhat of a short video to highlight the fact that if you're struggling with the vault choices, and this is the #1 question that I get, this can really help you with this. Let me know how you feel about this. Let me know if you enjoyed this tool, and I'll see you in my next guide.